Morning. We are up high today. I'm not even sure the elevation. I need to look on the map to determine, but I can tell by my lungs that it's not low. And we are in dusky habitat, trying to find a few. We've seen some feathers along the road, so we know they're generally here. It looks like we got all the right pieces of habitat for a good dusky hunt here. So stay tuned. Thanks for following along. He's getting birdie over here. I don't know. It's like he's on the ground, but it can't be. Yeah, he's got something he's working. No, this looks good, but oh yeah. From the outset of this hunt, there was just something bizarre about the scenting conditions. It probably didn't help that it was one of the craziest droughts on record, and that this place had been grazed to holy hell, and there was pretty much a blanket of dust on everything up top. So he locked on point here, and then it did not produce, but he had his nose to the ground, so something was in here. I mean, I like eating beef, but Jesus. Is this really the right conditions for grazing up here? Man, this looks like the moon. Okay, he hit right there hard. It's still a bit of a mystery to me what the grouse were actually eating. On top of this ridge, anything green seemed to be desiccated and picked over by the cattle. But for whatever reason, they were still there and thriving, and there were a lot of birds, even though it took us a little bit of time to figure out where they might have located themselves. Well, he worked that hard. It was a good-looking point. He was convinced there for a minute, but it was not productive. Is there a bird in there, Stellar? Wow. In fact, I wasn't even sure that Stellar was actually on Dusky Grouse. He kept running around the top of this knob with his nose to the ground, had a couple of unproductive points until finally figuring everything out. Says he's got a point at 60 yards. Whenever I talk to professional trainers or field trialers, the topic of steadiness always comes up, and this is one of those times when having a fully broke dog would definitely have benefited me in this situation. Like a lot of other hunters, we allow our dogs to break at the flush, but the definition of a flush can be different depending on the situation. It could mean the bird lifting up in the air, or it could be the dog lays eyes on the bird and it starts to run before taking off, or is just running along the ground, and that's their cue to break, or it's okay to break and chase. In this situation, Stellar had pointed what was a couple of beautiful, stylish points that I paused to take pictures of. But when he laid eyes on the bird and it started running across the ground to get away from us, the chase was on. Well, you f***ed that up because you ran. And it cost us a shot. Yeah, I mean, there's an argument for having your dog broke. And in that situation, I could see the bird. It was right over top of his noggin. And then he was just full on chase. And it ran and flew that way. It's a nice point. You had him. But we didn't work together on that one, buddy. There was one here. Come out of here and flew to God knows where. There was obviously a lot of frustration on my behalf because at this point in the hunt, after several unproductive points and then a wild flush, I was pretty eager to get my hands on a bird. I guess as much as Stellar was to get one in his mouth. Now 40. It's hard to see from this angle, but Stellar is just on the other side of that down log. In between, he and I are a pair of Duskies, one of which appears to be a big mature male. The behavior of the dusky grouse around dogs is both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, they don't seem to hold very well, and they're not very tolerant of pressure or presence of dogs. But on the other hand, their instinct is to fly up in the nearest tree, some of the time anyway.
He had him, but I didn't really have a shot.
And in rare instances, provide you with a decent follow-up shot opportunity, if you can find them in the tree.
It's in this tree right here, somewhere.
I mean, he keeps catching the wind of it right there. He'll get it. Here he comes. He just had to get the wind right. There he goes. There he goes. I had a boy. Pitch him up. Hold that bird, dude. Hey, hold him. Hold him. That's a good bird. Hold. There you go. Look at that thing. Give. Wow. Well, that was the bomber I've been waiting for this whole season, just to hold one like that with a big, beautiful fan. I got lucky and the birds flushed up into a tree, and then as I approached the tree, I think they were more concerned about Stellar, flushed right back to me. So I had a really fast, kind of like, Passover kind of shot, and instincts over aiming kicked in, fortunately for me, and we got him. So, in fact, it took Stellar a while to find him. He worked around right where that bird fell and could not get the scent right, but it is dusty down here, and I'm not surprised by that. So, the term bucket list bird is probably an overused phrase in the upland community. Having my hands on a giant mature male with a fully plumed fan in all of its glory definitely checked a lifetime box for me. As we got run out of the high country, we dropped down to about 3,000 feet and chased rough grouse along the cool creek bottom below. We even helped some young dogs get on their first wild birds. While we didn't come home with limits, that's rarely the objective in these kind of outings. It was a great time with good friends and great dog work, and it's a memory in the high country I won't soon forget.